If you're planning on moving to Charleston, you've probably Googled the best places to live, and I'm sure you've seen Mount Pleasant pop up. This town is one of the most popular and desirable towns in all of South Carolina, and for good reason. What's up, YouTube? It's Shawn, your Charleston realtor, and today we're going to cover the Mount Pleasant area and how much you need to make to afford a house here. I'm going to break down the town itself and why home prices here tend to be more expensive than the rest of the metro. I promise by the end of the video, you will see why Mount Pleasant stands out above the rest. I'm also going to do a cost breakdown to help potential buyers, so make sure you stay all the way till the end of the video. So where is Mount Pleasant? Geographically, it's just located to the east of the Charleston Peninsula and southeast of Daniel Island. It's the last major town you'll meet before hitting the Atlantic Ocean, though I'm sure the beach towns would disagree. Mount Pleasant is the last town you're going to hit before you reach the ocean. Mount Pleasant is much bigger than you would think, though. According to 2024 data, the population of Mount Pleasant is over 96,000 people. As you can see from this graph, the area really started taking off in the 1980s and has continued to grow steadily ever since. Mount Pleasant is connected to the Charleston Peninsula by the infamous Ravenel Bridge, which is arguably the most iconic landmark in all of Charleston. This bridge is actually one of the largest cable bridges in the world, and it's pretty neat because you can actually walk or jog across it. It's 2 miles each way, so it's a 4-mile round trip. So Mount Pleasant is so large that it's divided into 2 different zip codes with distinct features. A good rule of thumb is that north of the Isle of Palms connector right here, you'll find the 29466 zip code, and south of the Isle of Palms connector, you'll find the 29464 zip code. We can say it's North Mount Pleasant and South Mount Pleasant. The southern submarket of Mount Pleasant is the older of the two and features some truly stunning neighborhoods. One of the major reasons Mount Pleasant is so desirable is its close proximity to the Isle of Palms and Sullivan's Island. Coupled with the waterfront lifestyle, it's a perfect spot for people who love boating, fishing, or just being on the water. The area is also associated with some amazing dining spots, with the most popular being Shim Creek. You will also find a more upscale shopping experience in Mount Pleasant compared to the rest of the Charleston area. This area has a blend of boutiques and convenient shopping options with stores like Trader Joe's and Publix instead of a local Walmart or Food Lion on every street corner. Mount Pleasant Town Center is also a major shopping destination featuring stores like Lululemon with a variety of local specialty stores. Mount Pleasant is one of those towns that values aesthetics to a very high degree. You won't see cheap traffic lights or unsightly power lines around the area. Storefronts and commercial centers have very nice exteriors, and landscaping throughout the city is tightly controlled. Overall, the city just gives off some very clean vibes. If you have kids, then you'll be happy to learn that Mount Pleasant has some of the best schools in the area. Mount Pleasant falls in the Charleston County School District that consistently ranks high in South Carolina, according to GreatSchools.com. There are a total of 8 elementary schools in the area, with Charles Pinckney and Mount Pleasant Academy ranking towards the top, again, according to Great Schools. There are 11 middle schools in Mount Pleasant as well, and then for high schools, there are 2 major ones in the area. Wando High School covers North Mount Pleasant, while Lucy Beckham covers South Mount Pleasant. Both of these schools rank exceptionally high according to niche.com. If you're interested in private schools for your children, there are also options for those schools too. Now, let's talk about jobs and income in Mount Pleasant. According to 2022 census data, the median household income was just over $115,000, and the average household income in Mount Pleasant was $158,000. Income in Mount Pleasant is about 50% higher than the rest of the Charleston Metro, which has a median household income of $78,000 and an average household income of $109,000. You might be asking yourself, what industries in Charleston pay this well? Some of the best paying fields are in aerospace and aviation, such as like Boeing, healthcare, and information technology. With Joint Base Charleston being close by, there are also great high paying jobs related to the defense, contracting, and engineering. Some other high paying fields in the area include architecture and manufacturing, so if you have any experience in those fields, you may have a better chance of being able to afford a home in Mount Pleasant. The transportation sector is also large in Charleston, with the Port of Charleston actually ranking among the top 10 largest ports in the United States with respect to number of cargo containers. Now let's talk about real estate and how much you need to be able to afford a home. The average sales price for a single-family detached home in North Mount Pleasant is $1.2 million, and the median sales price is around $1 million as of June 2024. You'll find that townhomes and condos are much more affordable, with an average sales price of $522,000 and a median sales price of around $500,000, so about half. Year over year, we have seen a 17.6% increase in the average sales price on single-family detached homes, which is pretty telling about how in demand this market is. This area of Mount Pleasant does tend to have longer commuting times to work than the south side because development is growing geographically further away from the peninsula. The good news though is that condos and townhomes in this submarket are substantially more affordable, about half the cost. So this would be a great area to start looking if you want a more affordable house in Mount Pleasant. Though do keep in mind that Mount Pleasant did just reinstate their ban on new condo and multifamily developments until 2025. So the current supply is what you get. Jumping to South Mount Pleasant, the average sales price of a single family detached home is $1.3 million, and the median sales price is around $1 million too. For townhomes and condos, the average sales price is $671,000 and the median sales price is $480,000 as of June 2024. Prices in the southern submarket are generally more expensive than the north for a variety of reasons. The south is geographically constrained and has already been developed, so there isn't a lot of room for new construction. This market is also filled with homes that have that charming historic look, which makes them even more popular. Year over year, we have seen a nearly 25% increase in the average sales price of townhomes and condos, making the South a less affordable option compared to the North when looking for more affordably priced homes. For people who want to live in Mount Pleasant, they would have to typically buy a townhome or a condo as a starter home, and that is why we probably see these prices continuing to climb. But it is essential to note that real estate prices can vary depending on the neighborhood and that you can always find great prices wherever you are looking. You just have to give and take a little bit. That is why having an experienced realtor who knows this area is crucial because location is key. It could be the difference between you buying a house that you can comfortably afford or being house poor. So based on these numbers, we can calculate just how much you need to make in order to afford a single family detached home in Mount Pleasant. Taking the average of the home prices from both areas, we can say you're looking about $1 million home. Granted, this could be significantly higher or lower depending on your price point, but let's just say for simplicity, you're looking for $1 million. A 5% down payment will make your total loan $950,000, and hypothetically, the lender gives you a 6% interest rate. Fortunately, South Carolina ranks among the lowest property taxes in the country, so let's add a yearly property tax bill of $3,500. Add $3,000 in homeowners insurance and another $400 per month in mortgage insurance. You're looking at a mortgage payment of approximately $6,700. Ideally, you want to keep your debt to income ratio under 40%, so you would need to make approximately $17,000 per month as a household to comfortably afford a single family detached home in the greater Mount Pleasant area, assuming you have no other debt too. If you had the means to put a 20% down payment on this home, your monthly payment would go to just over $5,000 per month, which means that you should be bringing in approximately $13,000 monthly as a household. For first-time home buyers, the reality is that buying a single-family detached home in Mount Pleasant is likely going to be out of your price range, but not all hope is lost. There are still some great single-family detached homes in the 600s and the 700s. The way I have this conversation with my buyers is that when it comes to buying a house, there are 3 things that matter most. That is price, condition, and location. But here's the catch. You can only pick 2 of them. We can find a gorgeous home in a great location, but it will fetch a premium on the price, I promise you. You can get a cheap home in a great location, but it's probably going to be a fixer-upper. And you can get a phenomenally sized home in a great condition at a great price, but you're going to sacrifice the location. If you still want to live in Mount Pleasant, but you can't swing the single-family detached prices, then we also have options for you. Townhomes and condos are nearly half the cost, so let's calculate how much you would need to make to own one of these types of homes. Let's say the average price between the 2 submarkets for a townhome or a condo would be $500,000. Assume that same 6% interest rate again and a 5% down payment, so that would make your total loan $475,000. Because you have a substantially less expensive home, let's drop your property taxes to $2,000 a year and your homeowner's insurance to $2,500 a year. Your mortgage insurance would also come in around $300 for simplicity's sake too. This would make your monthly mortgage payment around $3,500, but we also need to account for homeowners association and regime charges, so let's add another $300 per month there. To keep your debt to income ratio under 40%, you would need to make about $9,500 a month as a household. For most people, this is going to be far more obtainable, especially if you have one of those jobs that we talked about earlier in the video. Of course, I made some assumptions here in the calculations, and I'm not a loan officer, so don't take this as individualized loan advice. But these numbers should certainly be a baseline for what you can expect to look out for in Mount Pleasant. So if you're considering moving to Charleston, you seriously can't overlook Mount Pleasant. While other markets like West Ashley or Somerville have their own unique charm, this town stands out above the rest with its easygoing and waterfront lifestyle. Being in such close proximity to the water makes hobbies like boating, fishing, or paddleboarding incredibly easy. Great schools and a high quality of life define Mount Pleasant. Combine all of this with some of the best dining in the entire country, you can easily see why so many people love to call Mount Pleasant their home. So there you have it, a breakdown of how much you need to make in order to afford a house here in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. From its unbeatable location, thriving schools, and booming real estate market, this town has it all. Whether you are starting a family, planning to retire, or looking to move closer to the coast, Mount Pleasant could be the perfect place for your next home. If you have any questions or you want to learn more about Mount Pleasant, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the video description below. If you learned anything from this video, please give it a like or comment. It helps me out a ton. And as always, I want to earn your business and be your resource for real estate in Charleston. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.